Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to my little channel. You know what we're going to talk about today? We're going to talk about the American dream. We're going to put that in like the, like big ass quotation marks. The American dream. Okay, which is a lot of us, of course, when we think about the American dream, we think about home ownership, education, being free here in America, being able to move about here in America. But we're going to talk about home ownership. Now, I have been a homeowner now for 28 years, okay? I moved in my house back in 1998, okay? I live in a very diverse area. I love this area because every race is out here. And that's the main thing I love about my area. All races of people is out here. These houses out here range from like maybe like 190, like from the 190s all the way up to the millions. I'm talking like about 13-14 million dollar houses out here. So in my area. But everyone talks about, the American dream and home ownership and things like that, but the unfortunate part about that is that all that stuff, it really is a fantasy. Okay. Society, all this stuff out here now is making it so hard for people to buy nice houses. I don't get down with that starter house bull crap. That's just nonsense to me. I believe in get a house that you want to call your forever home. Who want to keep packing and moving? I know the hell I didn't. Who wants to keep packing and moving? Say, for instance, you don't want steps. So you want to get yourself a ranch style home. You know what I'm saying? Or you may want a multi-level home, but make sure it's going to be something that you're going to be in for life. If you're not a person who pack up and move all the time, I guess I ain't talking to you, but I'm talking about somebody who want to find a forever home, a forever house to stay in, whether it's a condo, a ranch, a multi-level home, or a 4-family home or whatever, or a duplex, or, a 2-family, whatever. That's fine. But, I think a lot of things out here are these fees they charge us for and things like that. To me, it's a huge ripoff. And here in Ohio, in November on the ballot, it's going to be a thing to vote against about our property taxes, because property taxes it's crazy. Okay. I mean, my property taxes has actually went up 5 times since I've been in this house in 28 years. It went up not double or triple or quadruple. It went up 5 times higher than what I was paying 28 years ago. You probably thinking, well, yeah, no, I ain't talking about just went up an extra $300 or $400 or whatever. It went up. I went from paying probably close to about $1,100 a year in taxes and property taxes, about $1,100 a year to now almost $4,000 a year in property taxes. And that's what people are talking about here in Ohio. People are going to get taxed out of their homes. I think it's crazy that you've been paying on a mortgage for 20, 25, 30 years of your life. And if you don't pay your property taxes, the government can come and snatch your shit out from under you after you paid it off in full. So if you brought a $300,000 house and all the stuff attached to that, the principal and the interest and all that stuff, whatever, all that stuff, so $300,000 will probably gonna cost you about $400,000. You pay that off in 25, 30 years. But okay, I ain't paid my $3,000 or $4,000 property taxes of last month. So now they want to come and snatch all that away from you. That is not the American dream, yo. That is not an American dream. That is an American nightmare. Okay? I believe, especially if your house is paid off, you shouldn't pay property taxes anymore. Your property taxes should be done. And I think if you're over a certain age, which I believe 60 or maybe 65 and over, you should be paying property taxes. We got to pay for insurance. maintenance or something break down. Then you got to pay your property taxes on top of all that. So if I miss a payment, you mean to tell me you can come and snatch my fucking house? That is sick to me. That is not an American dream. So stop shoveling that bullshit to all of us. It is not an American dream. Okay? It's an American nightmare. It's exactly what the fuck that is. Okay? There's nothing to dream about that. Okay? There's no dream about that. That is a nightmare. Okay? I mean, if that is on the ballot come November of this year about the property taxes here in Ohio, of course I will vote for that. I will vote to say, hey, yeah. Either my thing is like this. Either lower them property taxes, roll it back to maybe 2010 or something like that, or get rid of it just completely. But everybody tells them, well, what about, the fire and the police and this and that? They got other ways to pay. We are paying too much. And everybody thinking, well, if it's maybe $10 for every $100,000 that a house is worth or whatever, that's a lot of money from a lot of houses around here. You know how much money that is? When I paid that $900 that years ago for the whole year of my property taxes, that was the cheapest that I paid. Now I'm up to close to $4,000 a year for my property taxes. Yeah, and I think that's super duper cold blooded right there. That's too much. That is way too much. I have friends who their houses are paid in full. When that tax bill comes, they're like, oh. I'm like, right. You done paid your house off. My friend lived around the corner from me. Her house been paid off now, since the 70s. She said they bought their house and that her husband paid that house off in less than 10 years. The house was paid in full and they get a tax bill every 6 months, but she said her husband is paying out for the whole year. And I was like, yeah, this stuff's crazy. Yeah. It's the bond right here. Mm-hmm. It's disturbing. It truly is. Yeah, it's disturbing. Yeah. But I want y'all to just peep this right quick. This is what Ohio's trying to do. This reads, even after you've paid off your mortgage, you still don't own it because you're merely a renter from the government. The group frames its campaign around broader concerns about affordability and fairness, asking on its website whether the American dream has become an illusion. It points to foreclosures, repeated tax levies, and disparities in school funding based on location as key issues. Dig that. Okay? It doesn't make any sense. It's like, think about it. You bought a $50,000, $60,000 car. You could buy a $20,000, $25,000 vehicle. Once you pay that thing off, all you gotta do is pay the insurance on it. And the maintenance. You're done with your car note, right? You're not gonna keep on paying taxes on a paid off car. Why should we keep paying taxes, property taxes on a paid off house? I said, this is crazy. Even for myself, my property taxes shouldn't be close to $4,000 a year here in Ohio or anywhere. I can see, I don't know if my house was worth millions or something. I don't know. But $4,000 a year for property taxes from what I paid $900 back in like 2010, 2011, that's a huge jump. For all these school levies and all this stuff. I mean, this is crazy. It's crazy. It's super crazy. It is. And think about it. I would never, ever want to live anywhere where there's an HOA. HOAs are evil. Okay? HOAs are evil as hell. Me and my husband, we watched a documentary. If y'all can find a documentary, I think it was on, I want to say it was on Netflix, I believe. Was it Netflix? But we watched a documentary about 2 years ago about HOAs. Oh my God. The stuff that they put people through. was unbelievable. Okay? Unbelievable. These HOAs, they have lost whatever is left in their damn minds. They lost that shit too. Because ain't no way on God's green planet I can live like that. Okay? I would rather cut my own grass like I've been doing, shovel my own snow like I've been doing, rake my own leaves like I've been doing, taking my own damn trash like I've been doing. I could do that myself without paying extra. You paying your mortgage. Your mortgage probably about $1,500 a month or more. But then you paying $400 a month or more for HOAs, for your fees. No MFing way I'm doing that. I'm sorry. Some people, they like all that because, hey, they ain't got to worry about trash or snow removal, leaf removal. You ain't got to worry about going out there digging in the dirt, planting stuff. I don't mind doing none of that stuff. I don't mind doing that stuff. I don't. Yeah. Ain't no way. The stuff we saw on that documentary was absolutely, it was evil. It was evil. Yeah. It was evil. I was like, this stuff, HOA people really do this stuff? Some people say was suing them HOA people, whatever. And it's usually a lot of crazy, blonde men and women. Mainly women. Okay? Crazy, like Karen likes. They will go out there. You can't do, it's like you can't even breathe without them coming to fine you for something. I would never do an HOA. I'm sorry. That's just me. If you do an HOA, that's your get down, but I could never do an HOA. When back in 1994, I remember I moved into this apartment building. I only stayed there for a year. I didn't know it was HOA. Nobody never said it. When I signed the lease, whatever, it never said it was HOA. But then I moved in there, and I think about 2 months before I was about ready to move out. Because I had these, I stayed on the first floor. At the time, my little girl, she was a little girl, at the time. And I stayed on the first floor where you could actually like see inside my apartment. And I remember I had up some curtains to match my couch set at the time. I had up some beige curtains, but it had like that backing that be on curtains that if you old enough remember that. I think they still make curtains like that. I don't know, but it had that thicker backing on the back of curtains. So I had those curtains hanging up, but I had like some like little like shears like this, like lace shears in the middle. And I remember something came in my mailbox saying that I was violating some kind of law or whatever, some crap there, because I had up curtains that had white backings. They told me to take them down and put up all sheer curtains. I sent that stuff back. I put a nasty note in there. I sent it back. Tell them the KMA. I ain't putting up nothing sheer. And then what I did, the 2 shears that I had in the middle right here, I took them shits down. And I put up another curtain that had the backing, the white backing. Because I live on the first floor. Y'all just want to walk past my apartment, and especially being African American. I was living around a whole. It was like a lot of, at the time, it was a lot of white people around there. Okay, I mean, just be honest, there was a lot of white people around there. I had some cool neighbors. There were some white people. They were some real cool folks, real cool people. You know what I'm saying? She used to sell Avon. Me and her we was cool. We was tight. And she hated when I moved away. But then it was the other people across the way who was probably looking like, who that black girl there? Who that black? I kept to myself. Only time they saw me is when I was going to the grocery store, or I'm probably going to work and coming back. That's it. I wasn't hanging around y'all. I don't want to hang around nobody here, because I was going to only stay for a year and dip out anyway. But they tell us that they was going to send me some kind of violation ticket or something. I said, you can send me whatever. I ain't paying nothing. Because first of all, I went to my drawer and got my lease. It didn't say anything about certain curtains you can't hang up. It ain't saying anything about that. So they lost whatever they were trying to do. They lost. because it didn't say nothing in my lease about curtains. Y'all just want to be a nosy and see what this little that young black woman was doing in her apartment. You want me to put up some sheer curtains on the first floor of my apartment? Y'all crazy in the motherfucker. I wasn't doing that. You crazy? So y'all keep on peeking at me and see what my black ass doing. Are you nuts? No. I was not doing that. I don't care if I stay around a whole bunch of whoever. I'm not putting up no damn sheer curtains so y'all can watch me do everything in my damn apartment. So I'll put up some more white backing. Like I said, I was going to leave anyway. I was going to move anyway. So I wasn't even worried about it. So that didn't really go nowhere. They tried me, but it didn't work. That was in 94. It didn't work. 32 years ago, it didn't work. Okay. Yeah, but I'm not an HOA fan. A coworker of mine, she stayed in the HOA and she said she paid about $400 a month in HOA fees. And she said stuff don't get done, trash be piled up. I said, see, there it is right there. That's why I can't deal with it. I don't want to deal with HOAs. Okay? Like I said, I love to garden anyway. If you watch any of my videos, I'm always out in my yard when it's nice outside, cutting grass, planting bushes, planting flowers, watering stuff or whatever. I love to do that kind of stuff. I don't mind taking out my own trash or whatever. No. And I understand, like, if you older, like for old, like let's say like a elderly couple who can't go out there and do all that stuff. You don't want to really hire nobody to go do that stuff for you. I understand that part of it, but I still don't want to do it. Me, I would just hire somebody to come do all that stuff when I get to the point I can't do it no more. That's just me. If I feel I can't cut my grass no more, and let me go ahead and hire dude over here or whatever. If I feel I can't paint no more, I just get some painters. If I feel I can't do landscaping or whatever, I just go ahead and hire somebody. You know, that's just I can't hang, child. Not me. But yeah, the American dream, child, it is an illusion. It's an illusion. Some people said they owned a home, but it became so much they went back to renting. They went back to renting a house or an apartment or a condo or whatever. They went back to renting because they was like, homeownership was just, it became too much. Like I say, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I'm so deep in it now. Like I said, 28 years as a homeowner. Especially I bought this house when I was, a young single woman, especially being a young single black mother. I was just so proud. It was just God and me, I just did all this on a wing and a prayer. I was scared to death when I jumped into homeownership as a young single woman, and especially a young single black woman. You know what I'm saying? So, but I did it. Like I said, I'm 28 years in. I only got like a few more years left on this mortgage, and I'll be done with that. But I did say I did want to buy me I did want a ranch style home because, like I said, I have 3 floors. There's 3 levels in this house, and I was like, I would love to get me a ranch style house with everything on the main floor, but the market right now is just all janky. But I look around my home, I said, do I feel like packing this house up? Do I? I don't, honestly, but if it came to that point, I have to do what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? But yep, y'all, the American dream it is a nightmare, so whatever you decide to do, for a home, do it with grace, do it with love. Whether you want to go buy yourself a house, whether you go buy yourself a condo, whether you go rent a house or rent a condo, hell, you stay at a trailer park, make it a home, okay? Because it's rough out here enough. It's rough out here for all of them, not just one of us, but all of us who ain't making millions and millions of dollars a year. It's rough. It is. So I'm doing everything I can to keep my head above water. I ain't over here like jacked up, but you know what I'm saying? I ain't no millionaire, nothing like that. But hey, I got food in my house, roof over my head. My mortgage payments are really, they're low. My mortgage payment is the bomb. My mortgage payment is less than some people's rent. Okay? Some people, they paying $1,200, $1,300 a month for rent. Not me. Over here, I got 3 bedrooms over here. I am not paying that much money for my mortgage. Like I said, I got a few more years left of my mortgage and I'm done. So I'm trying to help her get it done because I retire in after this month, it'll be 32 months. So I'm trying to be really done with that. Yeah. Yep. But all right, you guys, that's all. That's it. Thank you so very much for watching and checking in with me. And I will get back with you guys in my very next video. We're going to talk about something, or we're going to talk about someone that is near and dear to me, and I have to tell you his story. He will probably tell you, well, he won't tell you his story. He won't get on here and tell you his story, but I will tell you his story. I hate telling other people's stories, but I will tell you part of his, not the whole story, but part of his story on my next video. Okay. It's inspirational. It's sad, but it's also like an inspirational story. So we'll see. But all right, you guys, take care. Let those stay out the way, and I'm gonna get back with y'all in my very next video. Hopefully, I'll holler at y'all about all that later. Deuce. Thank you for watching.
All right, I like what you got there. Let me show you what I got. Check this out. Bring the bass line. Hey, yo, shut it down.